I remember vividly the day that I felt that this thing was taken seriously. At that time, I was still doing, we had started doing some projects with my current business partner, with Kwame Rugunda, and we had started a couple.
And that's cyber?
Not cyber. We had done other technologies. We were in civic technology at the time, doing some data visualizations. We had a business that was doing that called the Informeasy. And what can the business was supposed to take complex data and make it simple for anyone to make decisions with.
Oh, yes.
So we're already doing business together. But of course, from time to time, we talk about what's happening, what are the current trends, what are the latest trends. And blockchain, not blockchain per se, but Bitcoin would pop up. And I remember I was on a trip to Cape Town, and on my way back on the airport, this was in 2015, I remember very vividly what happened, because I was looking at the magazine store, and there was a Fortune magazine.
In the craft?
Not in the plane, just in the stands there before you board.
Oh, yes.
Magazine stands. And so there were the Fortune magazine and Forbes magazine. And on the cover of both Fortune and Forbes, there was Bitcoin and there was blockchain. I was like, this thing must be serious. By the time it's on the cover of Forbes and Fortune magazine, there is something.
Those
I even took a picture.
brands.
I took a picture. I still have that picture today. I took a picture of those two magazines side by side because I bought them, and I sent it to my business partners. I said, this thing is serious. This thing is serious. Let's pay attention to it. Long story short, the next year we built Uganda's first crypto exchange. From the ground up. 2016, I remember.
Out of nowhere, out of cyber.
Because we started asking our questions. So if this crypto thing is serious, how do you get crypto? I know at that time there was Mt. Gox and another exchange called BTCE, based in Russia.
Of course, I remember.
And now those ones, of course, now they have died, and we saved.
Exactly.
We got saved. But at the time, it was so complex. You had to buy dollars, then transfer it to another bank account in Europe, and then about 5 or 6 days later, it appears on your trading platform. Imagine that. You're trying to buy Bitcoin, but the fastest you can buy it takes 6 days, a whole week to buy Bitcoin. And we said there must be something simpler. And then, of course, Mt. Gox was eventually collapsed, but that was before then. But anyway, we're like, how can we make it easy for Ugandans? If Ugandans are actually to benefit from this new
how do we
wave of money,
summarize it and bring it home?
Yes, someone should be able to convert their Uganda shillings into Bitcoin. And so to solve that problem, we looked around and saw, what can we do? And we said, let's build an exchange. At the time, the company was called Bitreco. Bitcoin Trading and Exchange Company.
Your first?
My first business. And so our first order of business as Bitreco.
That was 2016?
That's 2016. Our first order, Bitreco. It's even registered. And our first order of business is to make it easy for Ugandans to access crypto. And so our flagship product, Binusu, was born. And so we were able to take in Uganda shillings, you can take in also mobile money, and you're able to convert it to crypto.
So where do you get how do you make the research to make sure that the API is connected?
So we built everything from scratch.
Back then, information was scarce. I remember 2016.
Yeah, it was very scarce. We had to build things from scratch. We had to build APIs from scratch. And that actually leads to our current business and what we have. Because when we were building the exchange, that's when we got exposed to blockchain. That's when we had to understand how blockchain works. Because we had to build the exchange on the Bitcoin network itself. We had to get a whole Bitcoin node. We had to run a Bitcoin node and be able to know how to interact with the Bitcoin network. And so blockchain became a part. And so the more we were building on our exchange, the more we understood that blockchain is a very powerful technology.
Oh yes. And
so that opened up so many possibilities for us. And so we're like, but this blockchain thing, the way it works, stands to be very revolutionary. And then that's the time I read the book by Don Trapscott, The Blockchain Revolution.
The Blockchain Revolution, yes.
And we were sold. I must say we were sold. And I was like, blockchain is the thing. That's the thing that is going to transform not only our business, but our continent as Africa. So then what we did from there, of course, but then the challenge we found, so the exchange is running, everyone's talking about crypto, but this blockchain thing started, itching our curiosity. How do we start talking about blockchain? Everyone talked about blockchain they didn't know. Like you've said, there's not a lot of information out there. So everyone was green. Even the IT people who you thought that the ones who know the latest technology, they didn't know.
Back then, I think they were seeing you as if you are mad.
Yeah, we looked like crazy young boys. So we then, I remember we were sitting at a meeting with my business partners and they asked, but what if we do a conference? What if we just gather people together and we talk about this thing? By this time next year, we should really do a serious thing. And at that time, there was a very low knowledge about blockchain. And actually, the biggest challenge for us was that blockchain was being confused with crypto. You say blockchain, people hear Bitcoin. And that's the time when there were so many scams and, and that stuff. So we said, let's take the bold step of doing something that will bring awareness about this in Africa.
Oh, yes.
And so that was the birth of the Africa Blockchain Conference, which we hosted in 2018. And we decided, let's go all out. Let's not leave anything on the table. Let's pull out all the cards. We decided to go and say how we can invite the president.
Let's talk about that, because you're leading me to another journey, which I really want to dive into.
Yeah.
But before we go to the blockchain conference,
yes,
it was amazing. It was amazing.
Thank you.
Where you hosted African leaders, presidents, the ambassadors, the blockchain stakeholders like CZ, among others. Binusu was already running.
Yes.
In between.
Yes.
And you had already designed the exchange.
Yes.
This exchange was in place. You designed it from scratch.
From scratch.
I must appreciate over that. That was amazing.
We built it from scratch. And because of, again, information at that time was very scarce. Ethereum just came in 2017, can you imagine?
Yeah, it came later.
Can you imagine? So that shows you how early we were in Africa.
I must say that you were very early.
Yeah, it's just that maybe one of the things that we suffer from is exposure. Because maybe if we were in Silicon Valley, the story would be different. But we are still telling ourselves an African story. And I believe our story, the more people hear about it, the more they'll get encouraged that, you might be sitting on gold and you don't know it.
Yeah, of course. I know many young startups in Africa will get energized on this story. Do not lose hope, because this is something, if someone can do it in Africa, in a third, I don't want to say third world, but a developing
country. Yeah.
How about others?
Yeah.
We can also do the same.
We can do the same. And that is, with all humility, one of the things that I believe that is giving us the staying power. When we look back and remember where we have come from, where God has brought us from, it is humbling that we were toying with these technologies right from when the whole world was still trying to figure it out.
So anyway, we are so early, to be honest. So let's go to the event.
The event.
You planned it, that was 2017?
We started planning it, of course, in 2017, and starting to talk to different people, and starting to build networks. Now remember,
did you have that picture that it's going to come out like how it came?
No, we didn't. We were making things up as we go. Remember, at the time, all winds were blowing against us. Everyone was saying you're a scam, including the central bank. Issued many warning letters. Bitcoin was almost banned in Kenya. So the narrative around crypto was very negative. But we kept on going. Let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. How can we have constructive conversations? So what we were going for is to get people who have influence. Let them hear the story. Let them hear two sides of the story and then make the decision. So at best, we were thinking that maybe some ministers will come and some industry players. Let's have a dialogue. But the more we engage with people, the more we discover that let's go big. Let's go big. Let's leave our mark. Let's not leave anything.
Let's set a precedent.
Let's not leave anything on the table. If it's big, let's go big. And remember, at that time, there were no conferences. All the conferences on crypto and blockchain were inward focused.
Of course.
Getting the developers, trying to talk to the community. So you're not talking to other people outside there, people who don't even know what blockchain is, people who don't even know what cryptography is.
Exactly.
But you're talking heavily technical language.
Even up to now,
inward
there are many
looking,
people.
And so we said, let's do something where the ordinary Ugandan, the ordinary African can attend and live with something.
Yeah.
And it says, if you're doing that, then go all out. Because you want to make that be a show. And so we decided, let's get people. So fortunately, a few months before the conference, we get to meet. Interesting, it was even just, I would say, the favor of God. You know, CZ's party, he had someone on his team who knew us.
From
and
where?
So from different circles.
Okay.
And so she calls and says,
so
hey,
that person knew you in the crypto space or something else?
She knew that we were into crypto.
Oh, yes.
She knew, because we are trying to rally people into coming for the conference, and the conference is going to talk about blockchain and crypto. So it's like, hey, I met this person, he's apparently a big person in crypto. Maybe a conversation with him can help you as you do your conference. It's like, hey, we don't mind, the more the merrier. Little did we know, she's connecting us to CZ.